Hi everyone, and welcome to a new session about the Node Material Editor. For the last video, a lot of people told me that I was speaking too fast, so this time I will make sure to speak slowly and to enunciate, so you guys can understand my French accent. So, you know what? Let's go directly to the Node Material Editor. You can find this little guide on nme.babylon.js.com, and here when you start it, you have a pretty basic shaders. The first shader here on the top is a vertex shader that was mentioned by Jason on the previous version, on the previous video. And here we have the fragment shader. That's the one we will look at today, okay? So I would like actually to kind of recreate what the standard material do inside the Babylon.js engine. The standard material is a material that you can use and which is used by default if you don't have a material. And the standard material comes with several features like a diffuse texture, support for lightning, support for an opacity texture. We're going to try to reproduce that inside this node material here. So the first thing I would like to add is a light support. So I'm gonna drag and drop here the light node. The light node comes with a camera position already set up. It requires the world position and the world normal. So it requires world position, we already have it. That's the multiplication of the mesh dot position. The attribute, so on every single vertex we have a position, a normal, a UV coordinate. We're gonna take this position, multiply it by the world matrix, and we get the world position. We're going to do the same thing for the normals. So let me bring here the normals coming from the mesh as well. We're going to move that guy a little bit here. I'm going to also call the transform node. So I want to transform my normal by the world matrix here, which is here. So let me connect that here and that there. Okay. And now I have my world normal. I'm going to rename it world normal. Okay. And this world normal will be directly connected inside here, my light. And then out of my light, I get the diffuse, for instance. And look at that, how beautiful it is. I have my cube. Let me maybe use a sphere. I have my sphere with a beautiful lightning. Okay. So I can save it now, just in case. All right. What you can do as well is look at the shaders. Let me turn off my picture-in-picture here, just switch to the desktop. I can open the file here, and you can see all the shader code that was generated for you by the node material. And you can see there is a lot of stuff in here, a lot of them. The fragment shader or pixel shader is right here. You can see that we call specific code that will execute light computation. Pretty complicated to write if you don't like shaders. That's why the node material is pretty powerful. By just drag and dropping this light node, I got all of that. Okay. What I want to do now is to read a texture to get my diffuse value. Okay, so I'm going to read a texture. This texture needs a parameter, which is a UV, coming from the mesh attribute. It's already set up. Perfect. I'm going to pick a texture from the download here, and I'm going to take the grass texture is in here. I can drag and drop that directly to the output, and I see that my sphere is textured with a grass texture. Perfect. But I want obviously to merge both the texture color and the light, so I'm gonna call here a multiply block, and this multiply block will take the diffuse computation, multiply by the texture color. Okay, and then I can plug that back into the shader, and now pretty cool, I have my shadow area and my light area on top of my sphere. Okay, now I would like to also support a opacity texture, so I'm gonna bring a new texture here, and this texture is automatically connected for us into the mesh UV. Perfect. And what I want here is to use this time the tree texture here, where what is white has an alpha set to 0. Okay, and this value, I'm just interested actually by the alpha value. I can just connect that here directly, and here you can see that I have lightning multiplied by the diffuse color plus alpha applied where alpha value is equal to 0. Then the pixels are just removed. Okay, pretty good. Fine. Now what I would like to do, let's say I also want to have support for light map. So I need a third texture. Again, a new texture here that will automatically connect again with the Mesh UV. Perfect. This texture will contain a texture with white and black areas. And what I want here is not multiply that by the previous computation. So I have light multiplied by the diffuse texture, and then I want to add here my light map. So I have the output of my previous multiplication here where I add my light map, okay? And then the final output of that is then generated here. So I can see that I have area where my light is computed plus my diffuse texture, and where I add on top of that the light map. So I have a pretty decent shader here supporting 3 texture, opacity texture, diffuse texture, light map texture, plus light computation, all of that done directly by my node material. And so I can reuse that node material directly inside my own code in just a snap of a finger. So then you can save unique URL here, and I'm gonna get here this URL. And what I can do, just to show you, is I can reuse that URL directly here, and it will open my node material, boom, directly with what I want. Okay, so already set up. You guys can reuse this same URL to just keep editing this material. You can also generate the code for you, which is pretty cool. I can click here, open the code, and now that's the code. You guys have to copy paste into your own code or inside the playground to just get this exact same shader. And the cool stuff about that is that even the texture is stored internally. You don't have to point to the texture. It's a big one because it's base 64, but if you copy paste that into your code, you're gonna get exactly this shader rendered into your scene. Wonderful, right? And that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time for more NME adventures. Bye-bye.